Rabbi Say, it is now my greatest covet to ask the Mashgiach Shlita to address us, to give us Divrei Yisraelis. And before the Mashgiach speaks, I would like to say that it's mind-boggling how much time the Mashgiach has given for this inyan in the last few weeks, even the last few months. Tag und Nacht und Tag und Nacht. Eibishter soll ihm geben Koyach. Sie können durchführen der gewaltige, die Takonis. And now it's close to hear from the Mashgiach.
Keser yitnu lecho Malachim amoyne imaylo Imamcho Yisrael kavutze mato. The greatest schus that we could ever imagine for us in this gewaltige Ira Teure to approach Rosh Hashanah, the greatest Kesser, the crown that we are giving and preparing ourselves with which to crown Hashem Yisborach together with the Malachim Amoinei Mailo. We, Klal Yisrael, here Kavutze Mato, join together below. One cannot imagine this pilus in Shemei Moroi. We who look around this hall should know that there's double the amount of people outside. We all join together in our thousands. What for? To be Mekabel Oil Malchus Shamayim, to look for ways and means of preserving the Kedusha and Tara of our homes. I can't think or imagine in my mind the greatest schus with which to approach Rosh Hashanah. Rabbi Say, we've come together because it's a gewaldige Eis Tzor. Chazal use an expression in the Gemara in Yuma when they wanted to express their pain that the Nisyonis of Klal Yisrael do not cease, and they said, they used the expression V'hasoten adayin meraked beineinu, that Satan which made Chor of the Beis Hamikdash, adayin is still not, in our times the Anshe Knesset Hagdoila said adayin meraked beineinu, is dancing between us. V'lezer Gordon Zechreinu Livrocha tried to explain to us, what does it mean the Satan is dancing? The Satan is enticing. The Satan is mesis or mediach. The Satan is pressurizing us to do averis. What is he dancing about? What do we mean he's dancing? Raket beineinu. And he said a moira dikazach. He said that dancing is an art. And when you dance, you start off softly and slowly, soft music, a slow pace. And slowly you gather pace and momentum. And all of a sudden, one goes wild. That's the process of a dance. He says that's the mahalach of the Satan in Klal Yisrael. He starts off slowly and softly, and he gathers us in his arms. Yes, that's the way he entices us. Kum tanz mit mir. Slowly, and all of a sudden, he comes to a high pitch, and he goes wild. Adayin hasoten merakid beinenu. In our times, the Belezer Gordon said, the Satan has come to the end of the dance and he's going wild. And we're spinning along with him, out of control. On the one hand, it's a gewaltige nechome, because how long can you go wild? At the end, you're going to collapse. If he's already wild, that means it's the end of the dance. But that is the critical moment. Either he's going to spin us out of control, or he's going to collapse with a lack of breath. And that's up to us. Hadayin hasoten merakid beinenu. It's difficult to talk about past generations which we didn't experience life with them. But we cannot imagine the Satan ever having a hold and a grip on Klal Yisrael, on the Mitzuyonim of Klal Yisrael, on the best of Klal Yisrael, as he has a hold on us today, Rahman al-Islam. Internet in our community has brought with it hair-raising stories, heart-breaking situations. Every mechanech and many families, unfortunately, have experienced situations unimaginable, heartbreaking situations. Families have been torn apart. Marriages have been broken. Yes, Rabbi Isai, we are talking about protecting our children. Why not think for a moment about protecting ourselves? Many years ago, the first time I mentioned the warning against internet, and people at that time, it was an Aguda convention, thought that I was being a bit too canoistic and a bit too wild about my opposition to this wonderful new invention. And someone came up to me and said, Rabbi, you're not with the times. We live in the internet age. You can't ban the internet. Just like in the motor car age. Nobody thought of banning motor cars. It's an age. It's a development. It's a process. It's progression. You can't stop it happening. And I said to him, Gewalt, you really given me the answer to how to explain the danger of internet and how to understand that there's no infringement of a person's privacy and there's no imposition if we impose rules. Would anybody allow the manufacturers to set the cars free on the road without rules and regulations of how to use a car. How lethal is a car? People accept upon themselves limitations, speed limits, road directions, keeping to the same side of the road, traffic lights, and there are fines to impose it for people who are reckless because it's considered irresponsible. Children are not given keys to a car because it's irresponsible. And everybody in society has accepted that and understood that. And all of a sudden this new machine comes into the world. And everybody has gone so shikha that any rule or regulation, any limitation, any sort of limitation of a person's usage, any idea that maybe children should be banned from that, and maybe even those people, adults, should only use it in certain places, certain times, certain speeds, exactly the same as a motor car. All of a sudden, we're invading your privacy. Mind your own business. If you want to kill ourselves, let us kill ourselves. Even a seat belt has become law to protect yourself from yourself. Nobody's going to get damaged except yourself. Don't even Havdil understand the danger? The responsibility demands that you should do whatever you can for your own safety, for your children's safety, for the public's safety. And if we come and make takonos for the safety of your neshama, for the safety of your children's neshama, for the safety of the public's neshama, then we're being frumakas. Biliploy. Adayin asoten meraket b'nei. The takonos to the menalim ve'ez Hashem Yisborach, and that I would like to say a word of gewaltige appreciation. Unsere heilige Stadt has no idea how lucky we are and how grateful we should be to have such great men as menalim of our schools. I've spent many hours in the past weeks together with them. And together, I mean taka together, which allein is a moire dikazach. Ideas were exchanged, but the ernstkeit, the seriousness, the caring, the responsibility. Yes, the Shem Shomayim that one felt when we were discussing what can be done to safeguard our children was overwhelming. I have no words with which to express that appreciation, admiration and respect that I have and you all should have, and the gratitude to Hashem Yisborach that our children are under the care of such menalim. And yes, when we made the takonos together, and when we're thrashing out what we can and what we can't do, the all-encompassing spirit was We have to protect our children. And you have to understand that even if some circumstances would unfortunately lead to a situation where children have to be sent away from a school, it's not a punishment. We're not punishing children. We're not punishing parents. We're safeguarding the rest of the children. Because one thing we realize, which maybe not all of you realize, that one child exposed to internet is a rotten apple in a healthy class, which can make the whole kitta rotten. It will contaminate a kitta and eventually contaminate a school. And for that we are achroi. But what I want to add to you this evening is, Rabbi Isai, that anyone who has internet in his home, anyone who has access to internet, and I'm going to include in that even those who use internet in their offices, they are in danger. You are all in danger. And you have to know how much are you prepared to give away to save your life. Maybe it's worthwhile, and I'll make a wild statement this evening. Maybe it's worthwhile to live in poverty and not give away your neshama, and not put your neshama in the danger of being thrown away. Although the main theme this evening is the protection of our children, but when we talk about internet, we must never forget the danger it is to us, to the adults in the household, the danger it is to a husband, the danger it is to a wife. And we're not only talking about images that one sees. To enter the chat rooms on the internet is exposing yourself to terrible, terrible attractions and to terrible destruction of your neshama. And to the destruction of your family life. And it's all with the press of a button. It can happen by accident. But then it's too late. And who of us can say, no kisi libi, we don't have to be afraid of things that we see? There's a Sefer Machzeh Anayim, written over 100 years ago by one of the Magidim in Bialystok. And he writes a very interesting machshava. He says, Al ma oso Hashem kocho ki yerdu mayim me'inayim v'lo me'avorim acherim im yad oy regel oy eva achan nilke v'inayim meridim demois v'bnei ma'u inayim nifku b'ad kol evori aguf. We would never ask the question, but anybody who knows that Hashem is Borach planned the guf, it's a good question. If your hand hurts, that your hand should cry. If your foot hurts, your foot should cry. Why is it that wherever in the body there's pain, the eyes cry? That's a ruchnisdike kasha, which Baruch Hashem, the audience here this evening, can appreciate. And he answers, he who's that? Mipnei ki einei ha'adam he moreshis l'chol chatos. U'ba'avu chatoisav bo ha'adam bimtzu koisav. U'lechein be'eis ki yotze la'adam v'ra'u ma'arloi ha'inayim meridin dumos. Because at the end of the day, it's the eyes that bring a person to chet. Roi v'averes ha'adam. The Mesilas Yesharim says it's pitu yo'einayim. Starting from Chava v'atere u'isho kitoi v'o'etz l'maychol. Einayim. Those great, wonderful tools that the Rebbeinu Shalom gave us. The creation of an eye. With all the valuable things that we can do with our eyes. But the damage that we can do with our eyes, Rahman al-Islam. Most of a person's Averas start with the eyes. And when a person has tsar, when Hashem gives pain, it's because of your Averas. And the eyes shed tears. Pargei mayim yordu einai. Rabbeinu Yoina says at the beginning of the Shar Aleph, Aloi shomru toirasecha. Streams of water my eyes shed because they didn't keep your Torah. Not Loi shomarti because I didn't keep your Torah, says Rabbeinu Yoina. You know why your eyes shed tears? Because they didn't keep the Torah. V'yafa pishe sharei tefillah ninalu goes on the Machzeh Anayim to say, Sharei dimo loy ninalu. Because you can only purify your eyes with kosher tears and with holy tears. Daven to Hashem Yisborach with tears. And say to Hashem, purify these eyes. Because I was metame then. Rahman al-Islam. Alkein eini yordo mayim. Ganz Echo is full with eyes. Eini yordo mayim. Eini yordo mayim. V'shvil eini. Also steht am Medrash. When the Chuvin Abayis came upon Klal Yisrael at the end of the day, they go back to the root cause of their Averas, and it's Eini. Eini oilalo lenafshi, v'kol b'noi siri. Ama, palgei mayim tere deini. Eini nigro, neki eini hu oilalo. The cause of everything is our eyes. Aboy Sai, the fear of internet, and this is what we're trying to do this evening, to instill in your hearts a fear of internet, a fear to touch it, a fear to come close to it, a fear to possess it. A fear to let it into your home. Any heta is a b'di'evet sheb'di'evet. The ideal thing is understood by everyone, that the internet has no place in the Jewish home. The fear of internet is connected with the fear of Shamayim. Without Yireh Shamayim, nobody can understand how to be afraid of internet. And the fear of internet depends on how much Yireh Shamayim, how much are you afraid of Chas v'Sholom doing an Aveira. How precious are our eyes. How much do we have to protect our eyes? And the eyes of our children, versteht sich. When we daven to the Rebbeinu Shalom, V'hoyer eineinu v'soiro secho, nach lichtig, brighten our eyes, v'soiro secho. One look at an image, Rachmana litzlan, which can stick in your mind and be metantem the moyach and blind your eyes from being able to perceive Kedusha. What a contradiction afterwards to say V'hoyer eineinu v'soiro secho. And Chazal said eineinu because they knew we need pure eyes. And when we daven to Hashem, we have to daven, Rebbeinu Shalom, help us to have the sort of eyes that can be made bright with the light of Torah. When we say in Tefillah, V'sechzenu eineinu v'shuvcha l'tzion v'rachamim, then we have to ask Hashem Yisborach, help us, that our eyes will be roi to be able to see the Shekhinah. V'sechzenu eineinu v'shuvcha l'tzion v'rachamim. How much rachamim do we need that our eyes should be zoiche to see? Chvona litzlan, we shouldn't be responsible for doing maisim that prevent our family from being able to see. Maybe we will do enough mitzvahs to be able to be present, but Rachmana litzlan will be blind people. Hiru eineinu v'yismach libeinu v'soged nafsheinu b'shuasro be'emet v'emoyer l'tzion molach eloi koyich. There will be no soged nafsheinu no yismach libeinu if our eyes won't be able to see Rachmana litzlan. I'm standing here this evening, I feel I'm making a plea of each person on behalf of themselves. Wir sind doch Brüder zusammen, Rabbi Yisrael. We've come so far in the Golus. Adayin asoten meraket beineinu is going wild. That this last wild spring of the Gol of the Psoten is trying to blind us, Rachmana litzlan. That afilu der Eibische wird helfen uns die kommende Zeit. A Mashiach soll kommen. Mit kommen in Yerushalayim. And Rebbeinu Shalom will bring his Shekhinah. Rachmana litzlan. We won't be able to see. Is it worth it? Isn't it worth it, the last bit of Mesiras Nefesh that Rebbeinu Shalom is asking of us? Forget all the takonis. Throw out that internet. Mesiras Nefesh. Be magzir al apsochim. Abi nicht gucken ein Cook. Not to have the nisoyim for having a look at the wrong thing, chas v'sholem. And I'll end with a word which I've said many times. The end of Eicha, the Novi says, Kumi roini balaylo, Roish Ashmoyres, Shifti kamayim libech pnei Hashem. Kumi roini balaylo, Roish Ashmoyres. Pour out your heart to the Rebbeinu Shalom, Shifti kamayim like water. What do you say to the Boy Nishloilam when we're in Goldus? In the deep darkness of Goldus. Siye lo kapayich. Lift up your hands in supplication to Hashem. Al nefesh oilolayich. For the nefesh of our children who are tufim bero beroish kol chutzois, who are fainting in hunger, the ruchnisdike hunger, beroish kol chutzois, at every street corner our children are falling, our children are fainting away. Our children are losing their zest for life. Because even when you send them to the right schools, when there's a street corner, you can't protect your children. With all the takonas, it's not possible to protect your children. With your takonas, you're protecting yourself for being responsible, because you've done as much as you can. But only Hashem can finish it off for you. So Eloch kapayich, ad nefesh oilolayich. Because at the street corner, they'll meet a friend, and that friend will show them one picture on a cell phone with images, and ruin his life. Tefillah, Rabbis. If this would only help the skinus to an awareness to how much we have to be mispalel for our children. To make us aware of the dangers that we are being exposed to. There are terrorists waiting around every corner, suicide bombers, killing themselves and your children with them. And only tefillah. Only tefillah will help us. Therefore, in this gewaltige Asifa, Ravam Hadras Melech, I think we should say one kapitel Tilim. For us, Betten Rachme, Betten Rachme, Betten Rachme. For uns, for every one of us, and for our kinderlich who are so dear to us, who are the future of Klal Yisrael, that they should survive. The Hadayin Asoten Meraket V'Neinu. For the Hadayin Asoten Meraket V'Neinu, the wildkeit with which the Sultan is dancing tells us that we are holding at the end, and we will prevail. B'siyata d'Shmaya, when we'll spell for the Rebbeinu Shloim. Nicht nur heim bei Nacht. Nur jeden Tag. We'll nicht ablassen. We'll be conscious and aware of how helpless we are after everything that we do. The ikar responsibility that we have is to be spallel for our children and for all the children in Klal Yisrael, und für ganz Klal Yisrael. Und damit wir solche sein, Sivos in the Teva, Tagut gebenchte Jahr, in our school wie Yeshua, all of us together will be solche, nicht nur zu gehen, an gegen Mashiach zu gehen, nur mit offenen Augen, Yiru Eineinu, Yisnach Libeinu, Sogen Nafsheinu, Yeshua Oschobernes. Sogen ein Kapitel, was alle wissen, Yeshua Meines, Nimavaki. Shir HaMa'alois Mimamakim Kosicho Adonai Adonai Shema b'koili Tiyena laznecha kashuvais L'koil tachanunoi Ima vayna is tishbar ya Adonai miyamois Slicha leman tivarei Kivisi Adonai Kivisa nafshi Lidvarai Haichalti Nafshi Ladoinai Mishaimrim laboike Shaimrim laboike Yacheil Israel Adonai Ki Adonai Chesed Ay v'yarbe yimai v'dos Israel Mikoil Avoyno Yisrael Acheinu kol beis Yisrael Hamsudim b'atzah v'ashivyon Oyni me'mayom me'mayabasha Amakai nirachem aleim Hatzir misor levacha Achela le'ayra Ameshivot le'geula Ashtov agola Vizman kariv V'noimar amein
Rabbi Isai, is an important announcement. Before we leave this hall, it's important to wait for the ones in the hall over there to fold up their chairs and make room, otherwise it will be Yisakona. In closing, Rabbi Isai, in the Zuchus of Armesius Nefesh, for Kedusha and Shmiras Yanayim, may we be Zoiche, to Pesachazenu, Eineinu, V'shuvcha L'tziyim Barachmim, V'mheira, V'meinu, Amen.